impact of tourism in the city. There are some variation obviously, but the idea really is to get they are talking about quality tourism, so more, which basically people who spend more money in various places of the city, and as well, I think one of the main challenge is to make more visible what the economy is bringing to the city. Because if you think that 15% of the local economy depend on this business, that means as well like 85% do not. That's quite a lot of people. And that the people who are voting actually.
Welcome to Now Boarding, everyone, the podcast where, as we unpack the complex relationship between travel, communities, and the planet. Our guest today isn't just talking about sustainability, but he's delivering it. He's got over 14 years of global experience. He's turned sustainability commitments into measurable results all across tourism, real estate, and also operations. He has also secured prestigious certifications, and he is an in my opinion, a leader who believes sustainability isn't a nice thing to have, it's a strategic imperative. My guest today is Morvan. I hope I got that
You did it
right.
right.
Thank you so much for joining me today, Morvan.
Thank you, Payal, for having me on your podcast. I'm very glad to be here with you today.
Thank you. Okay, so let's start with a big picture. But before we do that, a little background to you. I understand you're French, you live in Barcelona, you have a Spanish wife, and you've made Barcelona your home for the past 12 years. Am I correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
So, yeah, I actually, a bit about me. I actually studied sustainable tourism 20 years ago, something like that. I got a master degree in sustainable tourism, and then life happens, and I moved to different direction. I moved to different countries, Czech Republic. I lived in the UK as well. And finally, for 13, 14 years ago, I moved back. I moved in Barcelona, where I started managing large scale operations. I was managing in diverse industry. I worked for Airbnb as well for HP, where I managed around operation that were involving around 200 people. And about 6 years ago, I moved to All Homes. That is real estate development, short-term rental companies. It's based here in Barcelona. The headquarters is here, and they got around 600 units across Europe. It's different, like in Portugal, Spain, Greece, Israel, Romania. Where I managed with this company, I managed the department of sustainability and as well the opening project. That means that when the company acquire new asset, new hotel, I new buildings, I was doing the project management coordination, project management between business development to the end process. It means to the contact center. So I made the relation between all the work that include construction, maintenance, interior design, contact centration and whatnot. So that was quite a very intense moment. And now I'm collaborating with a non-profit that's called Enviro Rental.
Or
It's
how
a
can you
non-profit
spell that for people who may not have picked
and
it up?
Envirorental. That's nearly as complex as I hope I got it right as well. But that's basically a non-profit. That's what we are trying to do. We are trying to promote sustainability, reducing impact in the short-term rental industry. Myself, I'm touching Europe, but Bob, the owner, is always as well in contact with people in the US or in Australia. So it's quite large scale. We got good connection rate, and really the job is to influence people to help them to start delivering sustainability into their operation. So that's what we are doing through webinars, articles, online knowledge. Everything is for free. So if people is interested by this topic, I recommend to check the website. It's
Okay.
free and it's very well done.
Okay. Thank you for that. So, from your perspective, what are the most significant negative impacts of over tourism on local communities, economies, and cultures across, let's say, Europe? But I know eventually we're going to be focusing on Barcelona because I think Barcelona has been a, how shall I put it? Barcelona has been like a, is so highlighted, the over tourism at the moment, and there is so
Yeah.
much conversation around it. From your perspective, what do you think is the negative impact of over tourism?
So over tourism is, I think, is a topic that appeared in the 90s. I remember when I was studying my master, we already discussed this 20 years ago, and I very well remember my teacher saying, as of today, we haven't over tourism is existing, but we haven't seen any destination collapsing due to over tourism. It means we are discussing over tourism, but numbers keeps going all the time, all the time, all the time. Airports are getting bigger. You are always more and more people. All right. So what are the consequences of this? There is few consequences. Are basically on the infrastructure. Obviously, when you have too many people going at the same time in the same place, that impacts the life of local people who are living in the area. I can think of buses, public transportation. I can think of space, local management in the street. As well, you can think of maybe a bit less in a bit less in a urban area, but you have an impact on the environments that you got more degradation. Streets are getting dirtier all the time. It's a bit tough to manage. I think the biggest impact is on the social one, is the acceptance of the people regarding this flow of tourism. Are they ready to accept this or not? You can see if you checked, if we want to discuss Barcelona, but I think over the last 5 years, the public local authority has been surveying the local acceptance on tourism. You can see like this going down all the times. All right. So question is what can we do? What can we do? I think there is a lot to be done on urban planning because as well, if you think of over tourism, I think I checked what was going on in Vienna, in Austria, where you have around it's city with 1.2 million inhabitants and over 7 million inhabitants a year. The, there is no massive, there is no rejection of tourism yet. Why? You may ask why in some points, in some part of the world you do, why in some other parts you don't. I think it's very subjective. But what I can see, by instance, in Vienna is that there are very strong urban planning, which means tourism doesn't flow everywhere. It's pretty much well controlled. As well, I've seen that in Vienna, 60% the public housing is very strong. Here in Barcelona, it's very weak. 2% of the local, 2% of the housing is public and is affordable for people with low income. So that's obviously here you have a competition. Whether in Vienna the competition does not exist, so people do not feel threatened by this massive flow of tourism. As well, you can think of the nature of tourism. Vienna has been working with cultural tourism. I think people are going there all the year round, moving to museum. It's quite known as cultural museum. And I think this is what Barcelona will try to do in the next 5 years. Because obviously people who are visiting your city to visit museums, they do not have the same behavior as people who are visiting your city to go party and enjoy the sun, etc. You don't have the same type of tourism, not the same time of annoyances, not the same type of externalities of the business.
You're saying that Barcelona has both kinds of tourists coming in. There are some who are more aware and conscious because they're the ones who go to museums and who want to soak in and absorb the architecture and the history of the city, versus people who come here as tourists to just party. So Barcelona does have both kinds of tourists.
Uh,
And what is the percentage of the ones who are like serious tourists versus the
uh,
ones who just like
uh,
to
uh,
come and have a good time?
I don't have the percentage of people who are doing disturbances. But obviously, that exists. It's as well as part of my reality. I live here, you live here, you have seen this, the group of people going for party,
Yeah.
quite obvious. Not longer on a Saturday night. I woke up at 2 o'clock in the morning because drunk people were in the street. That exists. I don't want to totally, I'm not in favor of prohibition, but I'm not talking about myself, I'm talking about maybe the destination, what they want to do now. And as well, I think it's partly why they are tough on short-term rentals, is they want to have more or less, maybe a bit less tourists, but people who are spending much more, people who are going to museum. I think they announced 100 million euro investments from the Catalonian government and local city hall to upgrade a bit, upgrade all the local museums. So this is what they want to do. They want to do as well. Obviously, the effect on the city of tourism is quite, it's always the same. It's very concentrated. So that's very visible, but in that is provoking big amounts of people are usually at the same times, at the same place. But that's very visible. But what they want to do now, they want to invest in different places around the city. So it's Montjuic. They want to rehabilitate part of Montjuic where you have big museums there. They want to rehabilitate some places in Colserola. So for the ones who know Barcelona, that's the hills behind. All right, but it's quite, as I would say, it's 5, 6 kilometers from the city center. And as well, they want to rehabilitate and improve the northern side of Barcelona. So that's the side that touch Badalona. Here you got a river that is absolutely underexploited at the moment. You've got beaches which that look pretty bad, and they want to invest there. So they want people to move more around the city, maybe to distribute more equally the money, the revenue. So that's for local business located in this area to as well to take profit of this. I think it's actually one of the main things they should be doing
And
because
how,
it's
what is the,
15% of the look.
yeah, what is the time
Sorry,
frame? What is the time frame? They must have a timeline. Is it 5 years? Within 5 years, they're going to bring a, because it seems like a very ambitious project if they're trying to extend and basically upgrade different parts of the city, and so that the pressure is not so much on the city center any longer. So is there a timeline on it that
it's
you're
5 years.
aware of?
It's 5 years. Yeah, I think they are talking about 5 years times. Obviously, that will take more. That's the political plan. But I believe because even if you have a political alternance as in the city hall of Barcelona, I don't think this trend will be reversed. I think more or less is going that way. Even if it's left, right, whatever, I think there is a coherent understanding of the impact of tourism in the city. There are some variation obviously, but the idea really is to get talking about quality tourism, so more, which basically people who spend more money in various places of the city. And as well, I think one of the main challenge is to make more visible what the economy is bringing to the city. Because if you think that 15% of the local economy depend on this business, that means as well like 85% do not. That's quite a lot of people. And that the people who are voting actually. So to these guys as well, what they want to show. by instance, by recollecting the tourist tax. I think it's around 100 million a year. What do we do with this 100 million? They want to renovate air conditioning in the public school. They want to renovate beaches. I think there are a bit as well of marketing or public branding of what we do with this business, which is not very clear at the moment. This is as well, we want to accept better. Okay, there is people, there are many people, but in exchange, I get more buses. In exchange, I get air conditioning in the school of my kid, blah, 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 blah. I think this is where they are heading. In the same time, they are talking about increasing the capacity of the airport. It's going to be interesting here, interesting to see how they're going to do all of this. But totally, I think what is happening in Barcelona, usually in terms of managing tourism, usually maybe expand to Europe afterwards. So it's very nice place to be in to observe what's going on here.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I guess
Yeah.
that's gonna be very interesting years to come.
Yeah. And you've very categorically given Vienna as an example and how they also have, like you mentioned, 1 million, 1.2 million is their population, but they get 7 million tourists a year. But how it is not overcrowded, it's not the way they've distributed the tourism and, like you've mentioned, the public housing is so important that then people don't feel threatened. The locals are not feeling threatened by the fact that they're being priced out, basically, which is what is happening in
Yeah.
Barcelona. No, so that's a good comparison. I was going to ask you to compare Barcelona with another city within Europe, but you've already done that for me. Now,
Yeah, I think it's a culture as well of urban planning because this does not happen overnight. This has been long-term thinking in Vienna or other cities. I especially regarding housing, infrastructures, and obviously is where I mean it's to include tourism in the way you understand the city. I think here tourism has always been seen a bit as something in the air, not it's not tangible, it's not a factory, it's not
yeah,
but it has to be implemented, it has to be thought when you are 15 million people coming, where are they going? Do we want them to stay in the center? Do we want them to be spread? How do they move from point A to point B? I think this is what Barcelona is doing much more now. And I think it's gonna be, well, I hope it's gonna be positive for everyone. The idea of tourism is hospitality. Hospitality is welcoming. So
yeah.
how can you,
You can't turn
people
people
need,
away. Yeah, you're right. But the
yeah,
urban planning, that's when the urban planning comes in. You can't turn people away because it also shows that they are fascinated with your city. And people from across the world want to come and experience the city. But then, if there is proper urban planning, then a lot of the problems can be dissolved and you can still have as many people coming in, but it's distributed and it's not just all concentrated in the city centers. That makes sense. Operational frameworks like lean and agile are not traditionally associated with sustainability. How have you applied these methodologies to drive not just efficiency in what you do, but cultural and systemic sustainability in tourism projects? Because you worked on projects pretty much in different parts of the world. So, what do you have to say for that?
it's more where you manage those are two different things. Agile is more where to the way you are actually managing the project. You want to have results quick. You don't wait till the end of the project to launch it. It's more about controlling quality to make sure the customer is satisfied at any side of the project. Lean is more about continuous improvement. So this is more about, let's say, sustainability in terms of customer satisfaction. As well, sustainability is not only about environment, so it's how you manage employee, how you manage, how you relation with your guest, how you make sure you are providing quality. sustainability include all of this. When you are doing certifications such as the GSTC certifications, such as here in Barcelona, they implemented the biosphere. There is quite a large
What
scope
is
of
the
action regard.
what is the biosphere? If you can elaborate a little bit
So
on it.
bios so biosphere is a certification actually that is, I think it's Spanish, and it's been used. It's been used by the tourism of Barcelona. So tourism of Barcelona wants to improve the sustainability of the hospitality company operating here. So what they are doing, they are giving you free access to the platform. So it's a certification platform. And then they are giving you access to a consultant that is consulting you twice. You have 2 meetings a year, plus you can ask whatever questions. So he's helping you to go through the certification process, which is seen as well as a continuous improvement. They want people to get on board. They want people to improve year after year. So this is what Biosphere is about. And we were talking about lean, maybe,
Yeah, yeah,
I don't
lean.
remember what I was talking about.
Yeah. No,
Okay.
we you mentioned agile and then we were talking about lean. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and then okay, after you finish, then I wanted to ask you about who the stake, because you said biosphere is a certification, which is something which is being originating in Barcelona. Who are the stakeholders who are invited to get this certification? Is it hotels? Is it tour companies? Who is it?
Yes, so it's hotel, is short-term rentals, it's restaurants, is tours, activities, anyone operating into the hospitality sector is welcome to join. I can take as an example Olala Homes in a short-term rentals that got the certification, as well lodging. That's the two one is short-term rentals that got the certification, but as well hotel.
Okay, so I have
Um,
one more question to that. The short-term rentals, like you mentioned, Ola Homes, right?
Olala Homes, yeah.
Yeah. So they got the certification, but if it's another company that is providing, that has apartments that they are providing for short-term rentals, not Airbnb or anything, but short-term rentals, owner apartments. Do the apartment owners need to get the certification, or does the rental company?
No, you don't need, you don't have to, you're not forced to, you are
Okay.
not forced to, you are pushed to, let's say, you are pushed to, and as well, I think it's a very good way. It's good to, because it becomes like a network afterwards.
Correct. Yeah.
So this is a big point of sustainability. I will, if someone is listening to me, is to get involved into this type of project, association, whatever. Because usually it's where you get to know motivated people, and motivated people are maybe smarter than me, smarter than you.
Yeah.
You connect brains, and when it connects brains, get good, very good things comes next. It's don't stay. Otherwise, is as well one of our points in environmental is to mention this, is to mention get involved, get to know people, get some traction, get some knowledge, and move forward. It's alone. If you stay alone, it might be a bit terrifying. It's too much things, too much compliance, too much whatever. But usually, if you get good guidance, you understand it's can start low profile. Let's take three action and build on it. Okay, build and communicate to your customers.
Correct. Yeah,
Totally a
and you're
point.
absolutely right that if there is a community and people network with each other, you also learn, because a hotel is different from a short-term rental company, is different from a tour company. So they all have their own experiences, and if they can put their heads together, it makes a
Yeah.
lot of it makes that's strength. So I think a network like that is a very good idea for young sustainability leaders, or even for urban planners. What advice would you give for balancing economic growth, environmental stewardship, and cultural preservation? What, because you've got like 20 years or more of experience, what do you think is the skill set that they may need? What is the kind of mindset that they need to have? What is the direction that they should take where they are able to make a difference?
For urban planners, I'm not sure I can answer that one because I've been following the topic, but I'm not myself. I didn't really
Okay.
work in that specific field. Can talk about operations. So operation, basically how you want to mitigate, how you want, the question is how you want to mitigate the impact on your activities on local environment, social, etc. So that's a discussion you need to have as well. I think if you don't have traction from the top dogs, from the owners or whatever, it's gonna be hard to build. You don't need big budget or you don't need big budget, but obviously that's action that needs to be prioritized. When you are working the type of company, very busy, and if you don't have buy-in, if you don't have a sponsor really, if it's not that clear for the entire company that as sustainability as well is a priority, then nothing will happen. Because usually you don't have people who are working sustainability in this type of company are not working full time for sustainability. You are building your department with one guy from marketing, another from operation, another from, which is really great. I think in that sense, sustainability is fostering collaboration, empowerment, innovation. I think in all alarms, what we used to do when I was there is like trying to bring these people together, to make them used to work together so they can innovate. So for young people starting now, yeah, I would say that think of sustainability as a way to leverage your operation, as a way of collaboration, as a way to implement innovation. And that way you will, little by little, I lower your impact, increase your connection with the local people, etc., etc. But that's more a way of, what I want to say is a more way of governance, the way of thinking, the way you manage you manage your own people, your operation, and based on this, you will implement this. Because I don't think that when you start, you will have big budget, big team, big. So it's really how to learn how to navigate
Yeah.
through departments,
Yeah.
corporates, politics, blah blah blah, and whatnot.
Yeah, correct. No, that makes a lot of sense. Thank you so much, Mo. I'm like,
Thank you.
it was such a pleasurable conversation. And I think it's so important for people to understand the significance of this. And if people start from now, I hope that over the next even if not 5 years, but at least over the
Yeah,
next 10 years, there is a change and we are able to also bridge this gap, which seems to be getting wider and wider from the Barcelona perspective. And I
yeah,
think if Barcelona could take a leaf of what Vienna has done, for example, and the reason why I mentioned Vienna is because you've been talking about it. I think there is, and then let's not just stay with Barcelona. It can be implemented to other parts of the world as well, other cities as well that have such are able to focus on helping the local communities not get pushed out. That's one. Two, creating an infrastructure in terms of urban development that will actually enable tourism to continue and to go hand in hand with the local communities. Not so there is the economic benefit, but also there is the benefit of the people not getting disillusioned and distressed and being pushed out and not being able to lead normal lives. And local businesses can also get an opportunity to thrive, not in touristy areas where there is a concentration of
yeah,
local local businesses, but there what they are trying to sell is not really giving the essence of what the city is or what the history or the culture of the city is. I think,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's a
you've
part
seen.
we didn't discuss. That's a part we didn't discuss. Quite weird. This I There is a discrepancy between I the reason why people are visiting a city, which is uniqueness. I Then that creates a market, that creates a business, and the business is growing. And they are growing, when the business is growing, they want to standardize everything. I So people wants to visit something, a place for this uniqueness, and then at the end you get something very standard. It happened to everyone when you go to short-term rental or hotel in Barcelona or in Stockholm. The apartment is the same. The local souvenir shop, it's the same.
Yeah.
Everything is
Yeah.
absolutely the same. So this type of thing that needs to be pretty much balanced. I hope it's gonna be done. That's as well discussion around quality and hospitality again. How do we welcome our people? How do we give a real insight of local things? They are not visiting a supermarket; they're visiting people, culture, etc., etc. So how can we promote this?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And then your point of how, like taking Barcelona again as an example, how they're trying to get local businesses because they're urbanizing or they're upgrading different parts outside of the city center. And that will
Yeah,
encourage local businesses to set up
I hope
there.
so.
They
Yeah.
should, yeah. And then at least that's the way you'll be able to get a better understand. I think it's so important to go to a when you go as a tourist, do not just go and buy souvenirs to take back and say, "Oh, I went
Yeah.
to Barcelona," but also
Mm.
have a different kind of impact and understanding of what that city is all about. No, I completely get that. Thank you so much. This has been such a
Thank
wonderful
you.
and
Thank you.
yeah, I actually look forward to meeting you in person since you're in Barcelona and I'm in Barcelona. I think it'll be great if we could catch up maybe for a coffee or
Okay.
something one of these days. That
Let's
would
keep in
be
touch.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah, will do for sure. Thank you so much.